Bodewad mimwin prefixes and suffixes, with nouns in particular. Like we mentioned before, the reason for needing this is to understand new words. You need to understand how the roots are put together. With this understanding, you can start to create new words and really expand what you want to say. Prefixes on nouns work pretty much the same as with verbs. In fact, many of the prefixes we use with verbs, we also use with nouns. Often these are just shortened forms of the verb combined with a noun. Mishdon is a hairy mouth, so like a mustache, mishdon. Mishkade means he or she has a hairy leg. So if you just say mishkat would be a hairy leg. That mishkade means he or she has a hairy leg. Mishbokma is a pear, literally a hairy, kind of like a plum, a hairy thing. It's talking about the fuzz on it. Wagi koman, a crooked knife. Wagi koman. That wag indicates like crooked. Wagkade, he or she is bow-legged. Wagkade. That's more of a verb form of it. Wagkade. Kitcha can be added to a lot of nouns to indicate like a large version of something. And we also have bagoch there for wild. So kitchadopwin. Kitchadopwin is a large table. Kitchadabian, a large car. Kitchadabian. And they can also be used with verbs. Nagi kitcha mikchui, I really worked, or I worked big time or hard. Nagi kitcha mikchui. Bagoch bashukke is a buffalo. Bagoch bashukke. Bagoch pinoge, a wild child. Bagoch pinoge. Bagoch nene, wild man. Bagoch nene, often used in reference to Bigfoot. Bagoch nene. Nop indicates something hanging down, while now indicates something is in the center. So Napquan is a sailboat. Napquan, it's this thing that's hanging down like the mast is, kind of hanging out in that kind of semicircular shape when the mast has wind in it. Napquan. Napquewagen, a necklace. Napquewagen. Now-Jesus, the center of the sun. Now-Jesus. Na-now, directly in the center. Na-now. So Napquan, Napquan. Napquewagen, Napquewagen. Now-Jesus, Now-Jesus, and then Na-now. Colors are pretty common to be put on the front of different nouns. So wab is the part that means white. Zao, yellow, and it can also sometimes indicate even a brownish color. Mkade, black. So wab-mimi, a dove. Mimi by itself is just a pigeon. Mimi. Wab-mimi, a dove. Wabse, wabse. I know it's with more of a P there, but it also can be spelled with a B. Wabze or wapse. A swan, literally talking about the white coloring of it, the white skin, wapse. Wabnamosh, a white dog, wabnamosh. Zhao shonya is how we say gold. Zhao shonya, literally yellow money. Zhao shonya. Zhao jigwe, yellow thunder. Zhao jigwe, or it could even be indicating like eastern thunder because the east is yellow. Zhao jigwe. Zaugon, yellow snow. Don't gaggle michkani, Zaugon. Don't eat the yellow snow. Zaugon. Mkade anquet. Mkade, and when you say this, mkade, you add this W in there. It's missing. Mkade wanquet, black cloud. Mkade wanquet, a black cloud. Mkade wanquet. Suffixes and endings. Now there's parts of those back ends of words that also have a lot of meaning that if you kind of start to recognize them, you can see a similarity with a lot of different words. For example, wugamuk or just gamuk indicates like a building or a structure. And then con is another way to talk about something. If it ends in K, you can change it into con. So Tadiogamuk is a casino. Tadiogamuk. Tadi means to gamble, so it's the place that you gamble at. Tadiogamuk. Yaknogaogamuk is a hospital. Yaknogaogamuk, the place where sick people are. Yaknogaogamuk. Shonyaogamuk, a bank. Shonyaogamuk, a bank, a money place. Shonyaogamuk. Wisnaugamuk, a restaurant. Wisnaugamuk. Zispaktokan is a sugar camp. Zispaktokan. Gigokan, a fishing place. Gigokan. When you see what words that end in jawin, a lot of times it indicates like the movement of water, having to do with water. Mok jawin is a bubbling spring. Mok literally means to emerge, like mokse o gizis, the sun has come out. Mok jawin, a bubbling spring. Gwekjuin is a river turn direction. Gwekjuin, so like water going one way and then suddenly turning direction. Gwekjuin. Sinachuin is rapids. It's talking about sun is a rock. So it's talking about that water kind of hitting those rocks and making those white caps. Sinachuin, Sinachuin. Bamejuin is river flowing by or water flowing by. If you remember, Bame had to do with going by. And then Juin is talking about the water, so it's that water just kind of flowing by. Bamejuin. Shijuin, Shijuin, fast moving water. Shijuin. Medwejuin, the sound of water. Medwejuin, the sound of water. Medway indicates a sound, so it's the sound of water. Nisjuin is a downward flowing water. Nisjuin can even be used for kind of a waterfall, maybe a gradual kind of waterfall kind of coming down. Nisjuin, but water flowing downward. Kazo, Kazo has to do with acting or pretending. Chikazo, he or she is playing. Literally, he or she is acting in a certain way. Chikazo. Mbokazo, he or she is playing dead. So you could say like, Mbokazo o Ayani, the possum is playing dead. Mbokazo. Mikchuikazo, he or she is pretending to work. Mikchuikazo. Wawijge kajo, he or she is pretending to read. Wawijge kajo. Or Gadaso kazo, another way to say it. Gadaso kazo, he or she is pretending to read. You can say like Migadi kazo, play fighting, whatever you want, kind of with that kazo at the end of it. That ze, or sometimes se at the end of a verb, is a state of being, something animate. So like bamadze, he or she is alive. That bame at the front is kind of like going along, and that ad indicates like life, or having that life force, and then ze is that state of being. So it's that state of being alive and going by, bamadze. Nshkadze, he or she is mad. Nshkadze. Kebadze, he or she is misbehaved or foolish. Kebadze. Tekoze, he or she is short. Tekoze. Zagze, he or she is scared. Zagze. Kiowadze, he or she is sad. Kiowadze. B, or sometimes bia, indicates having to do with a liquid. Optobi, half full of a liquid or half drunk. Optobi. Minobi, he or she is a little buzzed. Minobi, or feeling good from a drink. Maybe it's like a energy drink that's making you feel good. Moshkanabi, Moshkanabi, to be full of a liquid. Moshkanabi. Zombie, he or she drank too much of something. Zombie, maybe you have to go to the bathroom now. Zombie. Gishkwabi, dizzy from drinking something. Gishkwabi. Shobi, Shobi, be slightly drunk. Shobi. Se, or ose, to be a little more even precise, that's to do with that walking. Bamose, he or she walks by. Bamose, again that bame, going by, walking. Bamose. Agmose, he or she walks in snowshoes. Agmose. Nemse, Nemse, he or she walks away. Nemse. Giotauze, he or she walks around in a circle. Giotauze. And perhaps that could be the root of giose, which is to hunt. They're kind of walking around in a circle. Giose. Nokse, he or she walks softly or quietly. Nokse. We, or we, means he or she is, kind of comes from Yahweh. And then ate has to do with light or heat of the sun. So like pinojewi, he or she is a child. Pinojewi. Kiweziwi, he or she is an old man. Kiweziwi. Makowi, he or she is a bear. Makowi. Jabate, like a light breaking through. Or you can also say jabwate with a W in there. Gajate, it's hot, but again, it's something that the sun is causing to happen. So like when you talk about like a stove is hot, you say gajade. Gajadam get e gajapkezgin. That stove is hot because it's not being caused by the sun. But if you're talking about like a hot car or the heat from outside, you say gajate, it's hot. Ate badon, turning it off, putting it out. Ate badon. So like ate badoni wabno toxigen. Turn off that TV. Ate badoni wabno toxigen. And again, like I said before, that gajate, that hot is referencing like the sun is causing it or it's weather related. And it's that gajide, it's something's hot. like a stove or something man-made that you've like turned on, gajide, or you warmed up some water and it's hot, gajide. Zamate, it's too hot, zamate, zamate. Shun has to do with lying or falling, with animate things. Pukshin, he or she falls, pukshin. Minoshin, minoshin, he or she lies comfortably, minoshin. Gwekshin, he or she turns over while lying, gwekshin. Kikich nukashin, he or she falls and hurts his or her arm, kikich nukashin. Opcheshin, he or she falls really hard or even like knocks oneself out, opcheshin. Nagi kitche medweshin, I fell and made a loud noise. Nagi kitche medweshin, I fell and made a loud noise. That's an example of how you can kind of combine some of those things together. That kitche, that real or intense, that big, and then medway, that sound, and then shin, that falling. Nagi kitche medweshin. That pato, that ending pato, and again, you don't use these by themselves, but they're attached to something. Bamupto, literally to run by. Bamupto, if you remember, bamose was to walk by, but bamupto, run by. Gwekpato, to turn and run. Numpato, to run off. Zagegypto, to run outside. Zagegypto. Bidgepto, bidgepto, to run inside. Bidgepto. Pato. Okay, that K is to make or do something with something. You can add this to a lot of different nouns to make a very specific verb, like minke is to pick blueberries. Minke. Min is a blueberry. Minke, pick blueberries. Dabian is a car. Dabian ke could be to work on your car, or it could even be to build a car. Dabian ke. Gokpanagen ke, to make baskets. Gokpanagen ke. Mishkukki ke, to make medicine. Mishkukki ke. Mizinigan ke, to make a book. Mizinigan ke. Mizinigan is a book. Mizinigan ke. And again, you could get very specific. Like if you were talking about maybe you're making a table, maybe you're a woodworker, you could say dopwin ke, he or she makes a table. If you were making a necklace, napkwewagen ke, making a necklace, napkwewagen ke. Whatever you're building, you can put that ke on it to indicate it. Zispaktoke, making maple syrup. Zispaktoke. Okay, when you put a one at the back end of if you see a one in the back or a gun in the back, it's pretty much a solid indicator this is some kind of noun. One can be an object, or it can be kind of like a thought. So like debwe means he or she tells the truth. Debwe. Debwe one is more like the concept of like truth. Debwe one. Kado, he or she says something. Kado. Kedwin can be like a saying or a phrase, something that's said. Kedwin. Tazo means to place something on a shelf. Tazo. Tazwin can be like a cupboard, or it could even be a closet. Tazwin. Jeepdebe means he or she sits. Jeepdebe. Jeepdebwin is a chair or a thing that one sits on. Jeepdebwin. Making real large compound words. So you can take a bunch of this stuff and you can put it together to indicate different things, like wichpatoma. He or she is running around with somebody. Wichpatoma. That wich being with somebody, the pato indicating running, that ma that you're doing it with someone. Wichpatoma. Wichsema, to walk with someone. Wichsema. That wich again indicating with somebody. The se, like from bamose, ose, that's the walking, and then the ma, with someone. Wichsema. Bokadeshin, he or she fell and broke their leg. Bok indicates something broke. Kade, your leg. Shin, falling. So bokadeshin, he or she fell and broke their leg. Bokadeshin. Butcha boknakeshin. I accidentally fell and broke my leg. That butcha means accidentally. And then bok, broke. Nukke, is arm, and then shin is the falling part. So butcha boknakeshin. So again, knowing some of these endings and back parts of words can really help you if you hear a word that maybe you've never heard before, kind of trying to figure out what's going on with that word. Also recognizing if it ends in like a gun or a win, it's usually a noun, usually some kind of man-made thing. The exception would be certain spiritual things, like a pawagan ends in a gun, but it's actually animate. But most of those man-made objects, dopwin, jeepdibwin, tazwin, and komkukoswin, whatever, they're inanimate. So, how? Yep, that is it.